Vikram, now you have received the award. May I have your acceptance speech, please?
Oh boy, this is perfect. Yeah, this is. It's anything that I say from now on is just going to go downhill. I think I can't top whatever has happened in the last half an hour, 40 minutes. And believe me, I want this one to end more than anybody else because I haven't had a drop of alcohol and I'm just dying to have a drink. But I guess the evening can't be complete without me actually thanking a lot of people who've made this entire thing possible. Standing before you, I'm truly humbled to be counted amongst the 31 greats who've received this award before me. Of them, it's particularly wonderful to see 5 earlier winners. We've got Sam, Ramesh, Madhukar, Arvind, and Shashi all out here. They've been perfect beacons. They've inspired, and I've learned a lot from each one of them. So to be counted amongst them feels absolutely super special. Thank you. This is a moment for some reflection and gratitude. And to be completely honest, when I was told I was receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award, my first reaction was, wow. But why? I mean, seriously, why? So somewhere along the line, I said to find this answer to the question, and you really start finding the answer to this question when you have to start writing acceptance speeches. That's when I realized, that saying which comes that it's not the destination, it's always a journey. So I'm going to ask you to indulge me as I walk up, not down, but walk up memory lane and acknowledge the opportunities I got and thank the people who taught me a thing or three to share, and so therefore they share the responsibilities for how I pretty much turned out. I mean, I won't completely start from my childhood, except to say at the outset that the primary responsibility for how I've turned out as a human being has been my mother, God bless her soul. She truly was one of a kind, practical, fair, loving, always there for you, a giver, never a taker. She was a planner, totally in control of all situations. She brought us up as a single parent since 71, so for so many years. For me, she was a CEO who never was, but I've learned so much from her. She shaped me profoundly. Funnily enough, in my school, modern school, and I'm saying funnily enough for all the people who have put a reputation to modern school, it taught me good manners and industriousness. Though I must admit, I was that insufferable goody-goody boy who never bunked classes, and everybody used to think what a pain he was. And mea culpa. Actually, and as a result, I always thought I was pretty anonymous in school. And I really have 3 years of AAAI to thank for correcting this. After my Lifetime Achievement Award announcement happened sometime in November, my school last month was kind enough to give its own version of this award by calling it the Excellence Award. So thank you. That's a BOGO. I get one, another one free. Thank you. But from school, I somehow redeemed myself in IIT by learning survival skills in a melting pot, actually make it a pressure cooker, and discovering a creative streak in theater. By the time I joined IIM, I knew I wanted to pursue marketing, and I got an opportunity to bloom in this domain, which I knew would be my future. So yes, I was pretty clear by the time I was in MBA land that this was going to be my future. But before I begin my career journey, I'm going to break protocol. It's customary to thank the wife at the end of the speech. I would like to make that acknowledgement up front. Arey sun to lo yaar. I met Simi shortly before I joined P&G, and we got married a year and a half later. For all of you who know Simi, and imagine most of you do, I'm proudly referred to her as Simi's husband rather than the other way around. Compared to me, she's infinitely more fun, more funny, and lights up every room that she walks into. Some of my older shameless friends have remarked in wonder, "Abhi tujh jaise ko aisi biwi kahan se mil gayi?" You know who I'm talking about there. To say that she's been a rock is an understatement. She sacrificed a journalistic career with Time magazines for my career, and over the years in startup language has pivoted time and time again. From journalism to export executive to a fitness trainer to TV show personality to radio jockey to a Punjabi video blogger, and now the creator of her own training studio, which she calls Method Studio by Vikram Sakhuja. This is a plug. If you're in Delhi, you must come for a free trial. She's the person with the highest action bias I've ever met. She makes things happen and brings both light and electricity into my life and marriage. She's clearly the wind beneath my wings. My working lifetime has been 38 years, of which 23 has been in the agency world, but I owe a lot to the first 15 years, which has given me a strong foundation. A lesser known fact is that I spent 2 years as a DCM management trainee between IIT and IIM, which was actually another mini MBA. This is also where I met my first boss in SRF, Thomas Verghese, he's here, this is where after 5 years of the typical Vela, wanton college life, I got for the first time a taste of what professionalism is, and it tasted pretty good. So I said, if this is what corporate life is setting us up for, I'm all game for it. Post-MBA came P&G, the best marketing school in the world. P&G had just about entered India with the RHL acquisition, and we sucked up the P&G way like a sponge. I learned the new product launch process, BASIS, the S&OP process, the famous one-page memo, 7 habits of highly effective people, power, positive power and influence, total quality, and importantly, what they mean by respect for the individual, and the philosophy of functional specialization. This latter, functional specialization, was a definitive factor. I was placed in market research after sales training, and subsequently media was added. But I wasn't allowed to enter brand management or advertising, as it was called then, because it was specialization. And in fact, because I wanted to get a taste of brand management, that was the reason I actually left Procter. But 30 years later, I realized that the very foundation in MR and media is what has paved the way for my success in the agency business, and therefore the profound wisdom in the way P&G really operated. As individuals go, there were 3 people in P&G who had the most profound impact on my life. Joy Gupta taught me market research. Partho is here, so he's going to be the proxy, because at one time they were completely twins. The ability to make a market research proposal in 1 page, the importance of field work and keeping analysis simple, and how a boss can be a friend. The other one was the formidable Bharat Patel, who unfortunately is in Baroda today. He couldn't make it. With his management style of management by walking around, and the power of the simple but loaded question, kya ho raha hai? He taught me the very important learning of treat the company's money like yourself, which, by the way, is something which even Sam, by the way, absolutely follows, and I think is such a good value. Third is Shantanu Khosla, who showed me that to excel, you don't need to take yourself, or for that matter, work that seriously, and to keep things simple. I wish I could just emulate the way he does it, but it makes it look effortless. I can't. 3 things stand out for me in this period. The aerial launch, for me, it was seminal. I've learned so much about how to build a brand at that point in time. Kicking off the pitch process to start India's first media AOR, which, by the way, was Madison. And as Sam has mentioned, starting India's first daily and afternoon soap, Shanti, completely thanks to Sam. I just played a minor supporting role in that particular role. Coca-Cola was a different learning. From P&G, a company that believed only in developing superior products and marketed exclusively through TV advertising, Coke taught me the power of multimedia, impact, sponsorship, and activation. I saw what the passion of cricket, movies, music, and festivals can do to build brands. And also how brands can be launched fast rather than following the purest way of following the entire new product launch process. Here the call out really is to my then boss and also my childhood mate from both school and IIT, Sanjeev Gupta. He and Harita were trying to make it here but couldn't make it, missed them. His dynamic and action-oriented marketing allowed me to experience a lifetime of learnings in just those 5 years. So I think that's a huge learning. I think my cherished memories from this phase were the launch of Sprite, Diet Coke, and Kinley, and the relaunch of Coke, Thumbs Up, Limca, and Maaza. We built properties like Coke Be Live and the Coca-Cola Cricket Cups, and you heard Raj talk about one of them, and discovered that you win marketing wars in India by treating each state differently. This was in the mid-90s. Now, of course, everybody knows that. And also the biggest learning that inaction or procrastinating decisions is often more costly than making a call, even if it's the wrong one. It is with this bedrock of training at P&G and Coke that I entered Mindshare at the end of 2000 when it was just setting up. Sam is right when he talks about it being a big decision. I had quit Star TV after being there for less than a year without any prospects in mind. The very next day after I sort of quit, as it turned out, we had Ranjan Kapoor home for lunch, who brought with him a very charming Angrezi Mallu in a ponytail, who was carving out Group M out of JWT and Ogilvy's media department. He was looking for a part of his leadership team. I agonized over it for a month. As it turns out, it was the best decision I made. This person that I can't thank enough is Andre Nair, of course, a rock star, party man, driven professional, ace communicator, and even better teacher. And if he's anybody whose life he's touched, you know exactly what I mean. If P&G and Coke taught me brand management, Andre single-handedly taught me agency management, or more appropriately, running a professional service firm. So the ability to professionalize an agency is all thanks to him. When I entered the agency world, I was managing HUL South Asia account. Since I didn't know better, I approached media from a lens of marketing. It was also the time that HUL was moving from classical advertising to communication channel planning, CCP it was called. So I got a chance to combine my classical media planning training from P&G with the communication activation framework of Coke. In this phase, I got a chance to work with the legion of legends like Nitin Paranjpai, Arun Adhikari, B.V. Pradeep, Anil Chopra, Shiv Kumar, Sanjeev Mehta. Sanjeev is here, thank you. Gopal Vittal, Dilip Sehgal, Srijit Mishra, Hemant Bakshi, B. Venkat, and Rahul Velde. These are, if you look at Sudhir Sitapati, CEO Factory, it's straight out of them. We got a chance to build rural, increase non-TV contributions, start a cable channel for Lever, build properties like Lakme India Fashion Week and Sunsilk Femina Miss India, and the entire advertising-funded programs like Lakme Fashion House, Close Up Hunt for the Next Harsha, Wheel, Smart Srimati, and many, many more. All this while keeping a lid on the media pricing. Deep interactions with these high-quality sort of clients has definitely led to my growth, if not by, probably by osmosis, but I have so much to really thank them for. This phase also catalyzed our agency capability to move from the red ocean of media planning to the blue ocean of content, sports, activation, trading, and mobile, as digital was called those then. Red ocean, blue ocean isn't the kind of phrase that I use, but it was introduced to me by one who was one of the key architects of that movement, Sukhu Murthy. Sukhu was supposed to be here. I don't know whether he is. If he's here, Sukhu, take a bow. Sukhu had this maverick zeal and healthy impatience with mediocrity. And he went about starting Broadmind, which morphed into ESP and has now become a very, very big force for Group M. 2008 was our seminal moment in sport when Lalit Modi had just announced the IPL on the back of a not very successful ICL. Sundaraman and Ajit Verghese, both in this room, asked me to seek a meeting with him. Lalit asked us to come the next day, and in 24 hours, we rehashed our last meeting with Lalit. That's the time Ashutosh Srivastav had met them in Karachi and taken Lalit through the BCCI's 5-year sort of rights kind of presentation. At that point in time, we had told him that the BCCI TV rights will probably in India be worth $290 million, and if we take full global, it will be $390 million. Lalit, of course, took that number, made $425 million the reserve price, and I think it finally went to 612. I think Nimbus took it. Harry is here, he'll vouch for it, but I think that's the numbers that happened. This time round, we traced the revenues series by series when we met Lalit and said, it's 2008, you did this meeting in 2005, in the last 2.5 years, if you go series by series, our numbers were actually pretty bang on. And this time around, just be careful because whatever you take from the broadcasters is a double whammy because 80% of that has to go to 8 team owners. So of course, Lalit being Lalit said, don't worry, I've got an irrevocable bank guarantee from the broadcaster, but I like the way you think. Next thing you know, he signed us on as an agency. Of course, then Piyush and Ogilvy came on as a creative agency. We launched IPL, and the rest is history. I think that remains one of our really, really sort of seminal moments. Now, one can't be a media buyer without talking pricing and deal making. And the two are different. Pricing and deal making are different. Fact of life is that every media owner will always claim that the price is too low, and advertisers will always demand the lowest price, whatever that lowest price might be. They just don't want anybody else to get a lower price than them. I still remember some epic standoffs at PNG, D. Sriram from Madison and I versus, I think it was Monica Dalton or Kanta Advani with Z. There was a big standoff. Many months we were off. In Coke, it was Lakshmi Narasimhan and I with Sumo Datta and Peter Mukherjee when Star Plus, we had just come with KBC and all the rest of it, and prices, I think we had to stay out, but we did it. But those standoffs were epic. At HUL, B. Venkat and I again with ZTV. Now, in all of these standoffs, I think the learning in this is the journey of this entire process is more significant than the outcome. It taught me a few things. Firstly, it taught me that let's not whinge about pricing. It's an end of day demand supply game. If you've got something which is hot property, you can charge more price. If you don't, you can't. Tough luck, take it. The other is media proliferation leads to fragmentation, which in turn leads to reach and rating loss, and so a drop in rates. That's a given. Now, if you don't want ratings to drop, don't keep on launching more and more channels. That is, these are just broad homilies, but I think this is profound, and that's why I'm talking it. The third one is a little important, that a win-win often comes from a lose-lose on your initial position. And I don't think people talk about this enough. Everybody wants, if you remain intransigent, things won't move forward. And therefore, ultimately, the pricing game is a game of attrition. As a word pundit said, it's a combination of trickle and friction. And the best lubricant in my years to reduce friction has been the relationship between the seller and the buyer. What I really cherish personally is the entire relationship we have been able to forge with all the ad sellers that we've had across media, across all these years. Each and every one of them is so special, and actually, come what may, I think the relationships endure, and I think that is something which has been very special to me. Deal making, in contrast to pricing, is way more creative and fun. At a foundational level, I learned the construct of a deal from DD slots. You know, it is principle, basic fundamentals. We have to pay for programming, we have to pay for the slot, and then we have to create value on top of that. The Shanti that Sam was talking about, we paid 1,10,000 per episode to UTV, we paid 60,000 slot to Doordarshan for 210 seconds of commercial time. This came to 8,000 rupees per 10 seconds. We got about 4 ratings on this afternoon slot, which came to a CPRP, a cost per rating point of 2,000, when the market was trading at 7,000. Now that's what you call a deal. And it actually, this one deal for PNG was actually talked about by the general manager in global meetings because it was such a big difference, 2 versus 7,000. The master of the deal, Raj Nayak, has taught me that a deal should be way more than just inventory. The ability to package value is more an art than a science. And Raj would have this uncanny ability of never leaving a meeting without closing a deal. And I think that is something that we should all take back with us. If you have an opportunity, close it, try to find values more than just inventory. That becomes a mug's game. Also, market inflections happen when new trading practices that promote accountability are introduced. I'd like to doff my hat to Harish Thawani, who was the first to introduce CPRP-linked deals on cricket, which allowed advertisers like Coke in those days to invest large sums on impact with accountability. But probably the best deal of my career has been when Hiren Pandit, another partner in crime from old days, he and I sold an IPL team in 2008. And the entire ability to actually, for a time when nobody even wanted to know what a team was, an IPL, should we buy it, to take on this entire private equity kind of mode, to get person to invest $107.1 million in that time what was called Deccan Chargers, and then buy the team for it. And actually, although the Deccan Chargers came last on the first episode, for the first season of IPL, it won the championship in the second season. So this deal is what actually makes you reinforces the reason why I love this profession. The most challenging and rewarding phase of my journey has been to build a team and through that, an organization. When I took over Group M, the constituent agencies had strong, ambitious agency heads who would rather compete than collaborate. They were friends, but they were still also very competitive and ambitious. I had this wonderful band of G-Man, Sundar, Ajit, Gangs, Rajul, PK, Tushar, Sridhar, Sukhu, followed by Hiren, Dalveer, and Madhvi Pava as the talent head. Have I missed out somebody? So they initially all accorded respect to me, but frankly, I don't think I commanded that much respect. It took an exercise, some would call it a fluffy exercise of vision and values, which along with Madhvi Pava and my friend Vijay Bhatt, who was absolutely instrumental in driving it, which gave meaning to what the group entity could do to add value, and I think it built the pillars of what is today a very formidable organization. The initiatives that came post that went on to strengthen Group M trading, led by PK, the entire talent development piece by Madhvi, specialist units by Sukhu and Hiren, activation by Dalveer, DJ, and later Sunny, who's now with Madison, and critically, the profitability and back office transformation by Sridhar. Above all, I think it brought about the entire collaboration, what we used to call band of brothers, which actually made people work together and derive synergy. I think these probably sowed the seeds of the behemoth that we see today, and whatever role I've been able to play in that, I think that for me is hugely fulfilling. I've always believed that the best CEO-CFO partnership is one where the CEO looks after revenues and CFO after profits. And that's how it was with my business partner in crime, Sridhar. One of the most rewarding moments for me and Sridhar, and he mainly briefly alluded to that, but I think I have a few more people to thank, was that, after years of trying, we got Martin Sorrell to let Group M India loan money to a trust that bought the Group M India shares from legacy employees of J. Walter Thompson and Ogilvy, who held shares from time before the media departments of these two great agencies was carved into Group M, and then we bought it from them and offered them to Group M India employees. This has been the greatest value creation task that I am aware of in our current Indian agency ecosystem. I wouldn't be surprised if today's dividends would be as high as salaries for some of the people who have been there for a long time. For this, I have to thank Piyush, who's here, Mr. Rane, Colvin, Anil Durkar, and above all, the late Ranjan Kapoor for making this happen. I think they've really been instrumental in first allowing us to buy it, and then I think it's come good. Oh yes, we had about 6 years for the trust to return the loan in Group M. I think we returned it in 3 or 4, right? And now to the last 10 years of my life. It was in March 2015, I was doing a global job and making a trip through India en route Bali for a conference. Sam made a reference to it, but I'll tell you what it said actually. E.T. wrote a piece with my caricature called Rat Racism, hinting that a global agency CEO was a victim of some international internecine politics and was pushed upstairs from a CEO to a global sinecure. That turned out to be a momentous blessing since Sam saw it and met me and offered me a chance to partner with him. Unlike the Group M joining decision that I agonized over, this took very little time to agree. I remember that, like I made a mention, on the 30th of March 2015, Simi and I were celebrating our 50th in Las Vegas, and Sam, with his customary speed, sent me the agreement that took an hour to discuss on the phone, followed by a transatlantic handshake, and here we are. This journey has been the coming of a full circle. A fanboy moment for me to work shoulder to shoulder with someone I and the industry have looked up to for 4 decades. A person who keeps everything human, makes the complex simple, and truly walks the talk. A realization that after traveling the 7 continents, yes, I've been to Antarctica too, and operating from 50,000 feet at global levels, I get most joy from addressing clients' marketing problems with the sleeves rolled up. Getting a chance to work in a rare environment where a client's needs are still accorded higher priority than an agency's P&L, and the team that you work with is genuine, committed, and apolitical. How the market research grounding that I received in early lives is coming good by making me, or rather giving me the opportunity to be the industry's tech committee chair for both TV and print. And again, getting a chance to be that curious, excited boy in a toy shop, getting a chance to discover the craft all over again, this time with the magic of data, tech, and AI. In all this journey, one thing I can confidently say. Every morning, the passion I turn up with has not changed a bit in the 38 years. The real value of a Lifetime Achievement Award is a validation from one's peers. For me, my most invaluable achievement has been to have been touched by so many great individuals and organizations across agencies, clients, and media owners. Their friendship, inspiration, and learning has been fabulous, and life has been good. Thank you.